Now, the CFI, under the WFCA umbrella, that will change many things. Talk about some of the things on your checklist to look at now that this has happened.
We want to broaden their reach, obviously. I mean, you're limited by your finances and how much you can do. And Jim Walker would be the first one to tell you, you don't get into this industry and this business to make money. This is a business from an association standpoint. There are some installers that are making great amounts of money and they're doing it right. But from an association standpoint, it's an issue that you often feel like the lone guy on the island. And so we hope to broaden their voice by lending our voice to it. We combine the voice of installation with the voice of retail and all of our other members and stand up and say, this matters. We have to address this. We certainly can offer some of the backing that's necessary to get them off the ground, although we see CFI functioning very independently, even though they're under the umbrella. We didn't simply bring them under to finance them. They will be seeking out their own financing and we'll be lending support where necessary. Certainly, again, communicating everything they're doing, broadening their reach, offering some of our staff as a support to them, helping with marketing. We have a very detailed business plan that's being developed right now that will lay all of that out. But we're very excited about officially combining the two voices together.
Now, there'll also be training that you will be launching.
Yes.
Over and above what's happening now. Talk about that.
Yeah, we became committed to the installation issue late last year, and we found a facility in Lenexa, Kansas. We've had that facility since February. And we're committed to addressing this issue in conjunction with CFI by financing what they continue to do and then also addressing it in whatever we can do. We knew all along that the CFI name was the way to do this, and so we sought to partner with them once they had come to us and see how we could do this better together. We plan to continue the regional training that we've done, specific dealer training. If a dealer calls CFI and wants them to come in and do training for them, and we'll continue to do that. In addition to that, we'll be offering some new trainings like installation for salespeople. So salespeople can learn how installation is a selling point to close the sale, how they can sell up using installation as an issue. So retailers can understand how you can charge more for your best installation crews. There's a lot that can go into this. And then we've got a Dallas school that will be opening late, I was going to say next month, it's almost this month, but yeah, late September. We'll be opening a 10,000 square foot facility just outside of Dallas, Texas, that primarily is focused on bringing new people into the industry. So there was a lot of talk about, do we find a central location, bring everybody in and train them and then send them back out? The model makes sense conceptually, it just doesn't make sense practically. Most people aren't going to fly in for 6 weeks away from home, lose all that opportunity to work, go to school, and then go back and be either relocated or relocated into their home base. What we want to do is go into major demographic areas, large metropolitan areas, and find a place where we can establish a school that will be ongoing. Dallas made a lot of sense for multiple reasons. Robert Garden is based there. His son, who is a master certified installer, will help with the school as well. And we found a great facility at a very good price. We've already done the build out on that, and as we said, we really are ready to open it now. We just held off because we were hoping for this acquisition to go through, and now that it has, our plans are in late September to launch that. You'll notice from the press release we've already got people from Brazil that are talking about taking up one of our schools, that period of time that a school is going on. Again, it'll train on every product category just as CFI has in the past. It just gives them a base to do that, and of course it will do training for people that are already certified and just want recertification as well.
Is there potential for this to be international?
There is.
I mean, it obviously is if it's in Brazil, but other places?
Yes, CFI has many relationships outside of the United States, South Africa, Chile, Brazil, Turkey. I mean, they have a pretty broad reach. We hope to go to one of the Domotex events and communicate the fact that we have training available and broaden that. But our base is here. Yeah. And this is where the issue is impacting so many of our members. And so this is where the majority of our focus will always be.
Mm-hmm. Talk about how you see this developing here in the United States. You said Kansas, Dallas. Where else might we see it?
Well, it's funny. We've been protected by a non-disclosure agreement, and so we weren't able to discuss this except with our board of the WFCA and the executive committee of CFI. And just from those two small groups, we've had people coming to us and saying, hey, we want you to hold a school here. We want you to hold a school here. Locations is not going to be an issue. Maybe the actual spot we hold it, but the cities will not be an issue because we already have dealers committing either space or a number of people to go through. We can accomplish some of that with the regional training. We have to make sure that the schools make sense long-term. And so just like the facility in Dallas, which we're leasing, we have a 3-year lease on, we want to go to places where over a period of time we can have a dramatic impact on this crisis that's ahead of us when it comes to the number of installers.
How does this mesh with the situation we talked about earlier with the government coming down on independent contractors? That would seem, I mean, that has a major bearing on the avenues you take going forward.
It does. It makes you approach it differently. So now you appeal directly to installers that they can make more money if they're certified, that they can differentiate themselves from their competition that way, so they fund themselves coming in. We are looking at government grants. We're appealing to veterans organizations because we're really looking for people that represent the industry well to come in. Had a great conversation the other day with some of the reserve organizations in the military and talked to them about how we can train their people on a new skill set and that they can make a good living. Plus, people don't often talk about the benefits of being an installer, but think about some of the other things that you do with your hands. So if you're a roofer, is that climate controlled? Not at all. But when you're in a home installing, typically at least residentially, you're in a climate controlled environment, you set your own hours, you're in control of your own destiny, you can make more money if you're willing to work longer. I mean, there are a lot of advantages to this, and we've seen people like Robert Varden who have made a very good living with installation. We really, Dave, want to elevate installation again. I spoke, I won't mention a name, but I spoke with a prominent person in the flooring industry on the manufacturing side who shared with me that he had numerous yards of flooring that he could not get installed every month because of the crisis with installation. And I said, well, is there a positive to this? Is there something good that comes out of it? He said, maybe installers will begin to be paid what they're worth. Because if you look at what an installer makes today to install a yard of carpet, they made about the same in 1970. You can't say that about any other industry. Yeah. And so is it any wonder that we've dwindled with the number of installers that we have? They've had to work harder, faster, but the appreciation level's not gone up, and we want to make sure it does.
You know, one of the things that Robert Varden and well, a lot of other players have taught, Jim Walker included, is the marketing side and the business side of that, to allow these people not only to run a good business, but to be able to pick and choose where they work so they can make more money. And a lot of times that just doesn't happen.
Well, that's the truth. The path is not clear to everyone, but obviously there are those who have followed that path and have found success. A big part of what we want to train in the school in Dallas and through the Lenexa facility and the regional training is what's the business side of installation. And so a lot of people that got into it simply got into it because they wanted to be able to make money. They wanted to be able to have a continuous cash flow coming in. Some of them then ended up hiring other installers to work underneath them, but nobody ever explained the business process of that to them. And so now you have somebody managing a business that all he knows is hopefully more money's coming in than is going out. And there are ways that you can take that skill set and change the knowledge level and make it profitable. That's the goal.
It's interesting. Now, the S600 standard that has been ongoing here, seems like decades, but I guess it hasn't been quite that long. How does that meld into this whole situation?
Well, we'll certainly be training to the S600 standard when it passes. I mean, of course, it's in appeal right now with the ANSI body, and that happens in the middle of September. Hopefully, we'll know something soon after that. And when the ANSI standard passes, we'll begin to train to that. We'll train to any standard. The main thing is to bring the quality of installation up. We think the standard's important because it spells out responsibilities for everybody within the industry. It truly is an industry standard. It's not a manufacturer standard, it's not a retailer standard, it's not an installer standard. It's an industry standard. And as I said earlier, installation's not a manufacturing problem, it's not a retailer problem, it's not an installer problem. It's an industry problem. And though the S600 is just about carpet, we're not bound to carpet with CFI. CFI does every product category, and we just want to make sure that there's a uniform standard